Okay, so this looks pretty good. I like it. I like the fact that the ears are incorporated more into the body and they're a part of it, and I think this will serve you better overall in terms of everything being one piece, it all working together, and it just flowing much better, especially when it comes time to texturing. What you had before, I could definitely foresee some major challenges for you in terms of making sure everything came together properly. Now, having said that, I also feel like I might have complicated your life just a touch in terms of some of the things that I was talking about, and I thought I tried to show you. All right, now your legs, they're looking a touch boxy, but again, that's an easy fix. When it comes to box modeling and the way we kind of approach this, it really just comes down to distance between areas and you know being able to adjust things a little bit. The more edges, the more points you have in place, the more you're going to run into stuff looking very, very boxy. So as you begin to do things like this, where you just shift things around a little bit, see, so now I've basically created kind of a curve, and now as you can see from above, that's looking a bit more rounded. In terms of like this, it would be the same concept of saying, all right, well, all I need to do now, instead of having everything on about the same plane, would be to come in here and select some of these points, like so. There, let me see if I can get them this time. Might need to get in really close since it's really wanting to make me work for it. And, I come in here, I grab these points. Yeah. And now, if I move them down, see, now I'm beginning to get a little more rounded off feel as opposed to this, like right in here, feeling a little flat. By shifting this down, it begins to give it a more organic feel, but still giving it, still keeping this nice crease you had in here. In fact, I would even take these and move them just a little bit closer in, just to define that crease where it's going from the body into the leg a little bit more. And again, right here, this feels very flat on top. So one of the things I'd be looking at doing is saying, all right, let me come in here and grab like these maybe. Bringing them down a little bit. I might come back in and cheat these back up a little bit. See, and suddenly it's all beginning to round out and feeling a touch more organic. Based on how I had brought this in, you're even getting a little bit of muscle definition in there, although this is we're guessworking this leg since it's kind of a funky thing, so you might want to play with that some. That's how you would go about going in there, and one, rounding this out so it feels a bit more organic overall, and that will then begin to help you figure out where you can get some muscle definition in there and make it work a little bit better. So that's the first thing. Something else you said real quick. Let me jump back over so I'm not forgetting anything. The mouth. That was the other thing I wanted to make sure to touch on. So with regards to the mouth, I absolutely know where the issue is. Okay, so I'm assuming you were doing the whole box modeling extrusion thing and it was going along all lovely and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. Glad he showed me this. Maybe I don't completely hate the teacher. And then you got to the mouth and you're like, sweet, grab, 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 and I'm just going to extrude in and begin to get some mouth action going on. So you're like, boom, and maybe another extrusion, and you got that, and weirdness. Now, easy, easy fix. Check this out. So I'm going to come out to object mode. I'm just going to select half. You don't want both sides selected. You just want one side selected. In fact, I'm going to hit the 1 key so it's back to the unsmooth mode so you can really see what I'm doing. And then right here, I'm going to hover over this so you see it says isolate selected or isolate select. I click that. The only thing that's still there is the one piece that I have selected, and you can see, okay, right there, When I extrude it in, since it had all of the sides selected, it extrudes right there. That's what you're dealing with. There are two polygons or one polygon or whatever. I extruded twice, so there's two polygons. So then it's a simple matter of coming in here, select that, delete. It creates that hole, and better yet, when I turn off that, boom, now we have the beginnings of a mouth, and if you were to smooth it, and voila, sir, now you have the mouth created and you have something you can begin to work with. So that should help a bit. Few other tools I would point out, because overall this is looking pretty good. I might bring these in a little bit just so the ears end up being a little more rounded out. So, but again, that's up to you. I mean, that's down to personal choice and preference. You can completely ignore me and be like, no, this is my vision. I hate you, teacher. Stop talking to me. You are perfectly within your rights to say that. Whether or not I'll listen to you, that can be that part's going to be subject to what happens. But as you can see, I kind of like that better. Feels a little bit more like your design. That's completely down to personal preference. What I was going to get to is right in here things are going to get tricky because you can't quite come in and say insert edge loop and it throws it around here or in here to help define that. And if you didn't do like one tiny extrusion and then the big extrusion, you're going to get that caved in kind of smoothed out feel. So check this out. This is where the knife tool, the multi-cut tool, comes into play. So what you can do is take this sucker, and I will say I love the knife tool and hate it. It can be a little tricky because I want to be right there, but it's going to force me to be down there. So I'm just going to try and get as close as I can to that edge. But this is how you begin to interactively see. It's going to try and jump over there, so I'm going to have to stick it down there a little bit, which might be a little bit further than I want. And now that I've created that, I can go to edge mode, select that edge, double click on that, it goes all the way around, and now I can actually move this in and out a little bit if I want to get it closer. But the best part about it is now when I smooth, I guess it would help if I had the object selected. Now when I smooth, see, now I'm creating that eye hole. Now I've given that extra edge in there so it defines this space a little bit more. And if I were to select these faces at the back, I can push them back and get more of that. I could do another extrude, whatever the case may be. Being in your position, I might even go so far as to expand it up a little bit. Oh, the other thing you're going to want to do, notice how this is very boxy right now. What it's actually wanting you to do, or what I would do if I were in your position, is I would be grabbing like these, and probably even these, and grabbing my move tool, bring them up a little bit, and grab these, move them up, and all I'm doing is rounding this out so it looks more like the shape of an eye. And if you really want to get specific, since you're going for that kind of a cat eye thing, you could even come in here and play with this a little bit so it's not perfectly round, so it's a little more stylized. And then again, same thing down here, we come through and maybe grabbing these, bring them up some, maybe grab all these down, grab these and down. You see what I'm doing? So I'm going to grab this. I could even take just these and push them even further. And instead of it being perfectly round, I'm beginning to get kind of a stylized cat eye type thing. So that's where I think you could take this and really, really begin to get something that looks really good and begins to flesh your idea out more. In terms of the tail, it looks a little funky coming out down there, but if that's where you want it, I'm fine with that. I might have it coming out up here, but that is completely up to you, sir. So hopefully that helps helps figure out some of the problems I think you're running into, helps you think through it a little bit better. But I like this iteration. I think you're going in the right direction. It's feeling a little more natural, a little more organic, and that's all to the good. So good on you, sir. Like what you're doing. Keep doing it.